way. No, I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it right here. Because you know what? It ain't because I want to just be all goody-goody to my brothers. I want to please God. Check this out. Joseph looked at his brothers because they realized who he was. He said, don't be afraid. Do I act for God? The answer is no. Do you see? You planned all this evil against me, but God used those same plans for good. Look, you thought you were selling me to be a slave, but God put me right here to save your hides. Easy now. Easy now. Right? So it's easy now. You have nothing to fear. I will take care of you and your children. A liar, somebody who didn't care about a cycle, he would say, forget you, you're dead. You're gone. But Joseph said, no. It's time to break. It's time to break it. I mean, sin has just had enough, hasn't it? I mean, it's time to break the cycle, isn't it? Isn't it time to break this thing and be done with this? Isn't it time to just take this thing and just like tear to pieces and say, I'm done. I'm not going to have this anymore?
How's Thomas going to get home?
Thomas, how you going to get to work now? All right. Check this out. Is there something in your life that needs to be broken?
Yeah, but I'm not actually going to break it.
No problem. See, because God wants to break it in your life. And He's not going to take you and throw you up against the floor, throw you up against a wall. He's going to take you in His loving arms. The same arms that went across like two beams of a cross. He's going to hold you. He's going to love you. He's going to take this thing that needs to be broken in your life, and He's going to walk you through it. But you know what? Here's the thing. None of y'all are man or woman enough to break the cycle. Because you think the cycle is this is just, I mean, I have fun with this. It's not hurting anybody. Here, let me tell you something. A professor of mine, one day he was kind of crazy. My philosophy is if a snake's in a room, if a snake's in the yard, if a snake's that's my philosophy. If it's in an aquarium or something, it needs to be dead. Period. Even on TV, I don't even want to see it there. All right, even I know it ain't coming in they're dead. Catch this. My professor, he loves snakes. Matter of fact, he had a snake in his office. At the seminary, I went down here to Southeastern, where Pastor Mike goes to school. His name was Alvin Reed. Dr. Reed had a snake in his office. He brought it to class one time, wrapped all around his hand. I'm like, you are an idiot. I'm backing up. I hate snakes. Okay? Now get this. One day he walks into class, and he says, "It's a sad day, folks." We're like, "What?" "My snake, it's gone." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding. Where in the world is it?" I mean, I'm thinking it's loose when he said that. He said, relax, everything, no, I had to get rid of my snake. I gave it to a local zoo down the road. Okay, good. Why? And like people were asking, well, why'd you do that? I mean, you love snakes. He says, oh, I do love snakes. He said, but the thing was, my snake was getting too big for me. We're like, what? I mean, because none of us knew anything about snakes, and we're just like, what? What are you talking about? He says, look, you have to feed the snake like kind of weekly, maybe every other week or so. Depends on how big the thing you give it to eat is. He says, but it started getting so big that it started biting me. He says, and I knew that if I kept this snake And it kept biting me. I mean, it was going to be on between us two, so I knew I needed just to get rid of it because I didn't want it to bite me anymore. And here's what I want you to understand, and I hope I put this in your mind perfectly, because listen to me. You listening? That's how we treat sin. We think, oh, well, you know, my cousin, you know, it's just a little thing. I mean, it's not going. But you know what? You know what happens? Later on, as you continue in your habit that you think is okay, it's going to bite. The same thing with, oh, well, I just visit that website just every once in a while. I take a picture of myself, and you know, I just send it to some certain people. But you know what happens? It continues on. And you know what happens too? You know, we start lying, and then we have to lie to cover up another lie, and then we have to tell another lie to keep that lie straight, and then before you know it, you can't remember like what even the truth is anymore. You see what I'm getting at? Sin will continue to grow, and you know, you'll just kind of pull it out and pet it every once in a while, and you think everything's all cool, but it will bite you. And I'm just here to just look at you straight in the eyes tonight and just say one thing. Is it time right now? Is it time tonight? Is it time for you to say, I'm done with this cycle? Whatever your sin is, I don't know what it is. But you know what? You know what it is. And God knows what it is. So let me just ask you.